Greetings. Welcome to another segment of Keep the Beat with Pete. And as we indicated, we want to, in previous posts, that we want to continue reviewing, playing things on the set, fours, eights, choruses, short phrases that are directly linked to the music / song. You know, it might be a piece of music, or it's one particular song, and what you want to do is phrase in a way that's very linked to the melody of the song. Now, one of the ways you do that is, aside from knowing the song form, as we talked about, and getting your pet phrases down, is the use of accents. So, as I've mentioned previously, I had studied with Joe Morello for a number of years, and Joe was, and Buddy Rich and all these, old-time players were great at picking accents out and using them as required. Now, there's a section of master studies, Joe's first major work, after a number of years when he had some earlier books, and then he had master studies too, as you probably know. In master studies on page 48, 49, when he was developing these lessons, he was writing the book, so I was taking lessons with him, and I was getting a preview of this stuff, and of course it's all in the book now, master studies. Progressive accents. And so, why would you study an exercise like this? This is an exercise, and why would you study it? Because when you want to link your phrases to the music, you will have to be able to pick accents out of the flow. In this case, the first few exercises he writes are in 8th notes and 16th notes. So I will just show you like the first one or two. He has like 1 and 2 and. Say you started with the right hand. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Okay, so that's 8th notes going into 16th notes. I was accenting the first beat, then I was accenting the second, the third, and the fourth, as the case may be. So why is this progressive? Well, it's progressing through the measure that way. How else might it progress? It might progress with 2 accents, 1 and 2 and. And then it might progress where it starts in the middle of the measure. 1 and 2 and. So forth. Okay. Also, you might say this in triplets, like so. 1, 2, 3. Now, why you work on this, it can become very tedious, because in certain songs there are kicks, accent points, and if you're doing a solo, okay? So a lot of times you'll be listening to particularly old jazz tunes, but rock tunes and fusion tunes too, and you'll say, like, hey, how did he develop that accent pattern? The music called for it, and he had to be able to meet the requirements of the structure of the song. So this exercise in Master Studies, page 48, 49, actually starts on bottom of page 48, goes 49, and it runs for quite a while. He takes this all the way up to page 51. The number of, and he progresses the accents all the way through to no accents, to 1, to 2 accents, 3, 4, 5, 6 accents, and back down again. So you're working on your dynamics and you're working on picking out those accents, and then what does that do? Well, that enables you to phrase in a way that you can accent something in a song. If you have a 4-bar phrase, that you need to do, or an 8-bar phrase. And of course, I'm doing it on the snare drum. You might place your accents on the toms. Favorites, right? Whatever the tune may be, you'll have them in your head. Excellent way to practice this. Take some of your favorite songs, create yourself a 4-bar fill, place the accents in it that match what was happening in the song. Besides doing the exercise, what's a good tempo? I don't know. I would say, in this regard, a tempo 95 is good, because then you can practice doing this with doubles as well. Like it's one thing to go 1 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Now when you do it with doubles, 1 and 2 and. Favorite song, but now you're using doubles, because maybe in certain circumstances it's going to require you to have that sticking. Start at 95. 90 is just fine. And it's really, you're just getting 1. That's with doubles. Same thing in the triplet format. There you have it. You work on this, and now you start, besides the exercise itself, you work on it by trying to put it into 4-bar phrases, 8-bar phrases in your favorite tunes. A lot of times the classic jazz ones are great, or if you're a rock and funk player and you have to do fills for your funky 4-bar, 8-bar fills, and you try the same thing, you're going to be able to place those accents exactly where the song structure is, and it really can bring things to life. And of course you can put the accents slightly against what it was to syncopate the whole thing if you want, but first you get them right there, and then what you do in between those accents is your dynamic range, your selection of orchestration on the instrument and so forth, substituting bass drums, all these kind of things. Maybe you put an accent on the cymbal, okay? That's all the creative part of this. That's what this is, create the beat you keep. But the tool is a fundamental thing on the snare drum. Snare drum being probably the primary part of the instrument. When the instrument was created, if you think to New Orleans jazz, they were playing snare drums, and then somebody else played the bass drum. And maybe somebody had a little sock cymbal clipped to a snare drum, and then the whole thing started to, this whole amalgamation, this whole crazy thing became the drum set. So start a lot of your exercises on a practice pad or a snare drum. Snare drum to get your dynamic range without the headphones. The reason I play with headphones a lot is because if you play for a number of years, you want to protect your hearing. And of course you can link it into your metronome, but you still have to practice a certain amount of time directly from the set to your ears, okay? So that's another thing. Okay, so simply put, get Master Studies if you don't have it, or try to get access to it. Page 40, 48 at the bottom, 49, 50, 51, and work through that. And then do it in doubles. This is all with singles, which is challenging enough. And then with doubles, it's very challenging. And then you learn to start placing your accents where the music is headed, and you'll really have yourself a powerful tool. Buddy Rich used it to it fairly well. I know Joe did. I saw him play many times, and he could just put accents. All of a sudden, it's like, boom! It's like, what happened? Yeah, it's exactly where we wanted it. And then he's back with the proper dynamics, which is another whole segment of this dynamic range, but basic, and then snapping those wrists for the accent, okay? Thanks for tuning in. We're trying to link our use of the set directly to the music/song. So create the beat you keep by doing these things. Thanks for tuning in.